Fancy that! Nissan has made the Frontier competitive! Hooray! This is the all-new Nissan Frontier, and if my nose sounds stuffy and I sound like a dope, it's because I just got over getting sick. That's what happens when you have kids. They get sick, and then you get sick. But erase this, go back to the truck. This is Nissan's revision of the Frontier to make it competitive in the mid-size pickup truck segment, and I'm happy to report that it is immediately competitive with the best in the class. Let's talk about the looks first, because this is a sharp looking truck. Yes, Nissan has followed the lead of every other truck maker and stamped the name in the back of the tailgate and it says it on the nose, but this is a good looking truck, especially the Pro-4X model that I am in today, which is the model I would recommend you buy if you were looking to get one of these. We'll get to that in a bit later. But another great reason why this truck looks so good is that green paintwork on the outside looks fantastic. That is a really good green, and vehicles look good with color, says the guy who has a beige Montero and a black Jaguar. And a silver Mercedes, if you want to get really technical. And a gray CX-5 for my wife's car. Okay, I need more color in my life, I get it. This is a good example of that, and it looks awesome. Throw on some bronze aftermarket wheels or some white aftermarket wheels, and this thing would look amazing. On the inside, Nissan has reworked the interior, and it is excellent. You get a giant screen up here, which responds well to touch. You have a wireless charger right here, which is nice and big and easy, so you don't have to make sure you place your phone in the right spot. You drop it, it starts charging. The gauge cluster is simple and easy to read. There's a digital section in the center, which gives you plenty of information, but there are true analog gauges off to the left, and that is always a good thing that I appreciate. There's great room in the back seat. On this Pro-4X model, you can only get it in this larger cab designation. On lesser trims, you can get it with the smaller cab configuration, which if you're buying a pickup truck these days, I mean, at least for me, because I have a family and a big dog, I need the larger full-size 4 doors. You get true real seating back there. You might as well just go for it. Especially on the competition on something like the Ranger. The smaller cab on the Ranger is almost a bit of a joke if you want to put people in the back. Those back seats are terrible. On the larger cab configuration, it's excellent. They're great. So under the hood, we are dealing with a familiar 3.8 liter V6. Here it is making 310 horsepower, 281 pound-feet of torque, which is excellent in the segment. In fact, it's best in class for horsepower. It beats the top spec gas Colorado by I think 2 horsepower or something like that. And then I'm not counting the performance option on the Ranger, because that is a Ford Performance Edition, which is worth it, I think, because for 825 bucks they basically zap your computer and go, huzzah, 315 horsepower. So if you bought a Ranger, you should go do that. But as it sits, Frontier is kind of the king of the class. And thankfully, Nissan is ditching CVTs, which is really good to hear across the lineup. The Pathfinder is good. All the other vehicles that are swapping them out is a nice upgrade, and this one gets Nissan's newer 9-speed automatic. I have to say, I feel like they've geared first gear kind of short to take real, to really get you using that 310 horsepower. Now, as for the ride itself, this, as I said, is the Pro-4X, which is the one to get. Let's be honest here. You get Bilstein suspension at all 4 corners. You get 17-inch wheels. They give you Hankook all-terrain tires, which are like not my first choice for a tire, not even my 4th choice, to be totally honest, with respect to these specific all-terrains. I don't have a problem with Hankook in general, just if we're dealing with an all-terrain tire, you know, it goes KO2, it goes Toyo, it goes Falcon, and then you kind of fall off from there. So, but that's an easy fix. These tires are nice and quiet on road, they're comfortable, and I understand why they would offer these to a customer out the gate. But the first thing I would do is swap the tires off. That said, even with these tires, I've done some wheeling with one of these trucks, especially on the first drive of this vehicle, which I did in my video review for Auto Trader, which you can go watch if you go find it on the Auto Trader channel. We did some decent off-roading in this thing. They're like, you're gonna need 4-low and some parts, and I drove with my friend Lynn Woodward from Kelly Blue Book, and we said, let's just see how it does in 4-high, and it did it all fine. We did not need 4-low. 4-low would have made some sections that much easier, but it didn't need it, even with the tires I just said I don't recommend. The suspension is nicely tuned, well damped. The truck feels comfortable in the dirt, off-road, climbing stuff, getting a little bit of angle to things, making sure you don't hit giant logs in the middle of the trail. It is comfortable in here. These seats feel great. They're Nissan zero gravity seats. This is a wonderful, wonderful truck, and I'm really happy driving it. I have noticed a few things that popped up that I don't remember from my first drive of the truck. The engine RPM at idle feels just a tiny bit low, so it almost feels like there's a slight judder. And I wonder if that's this specific truck, and I could be wrong, but I do not remember that. But it feels like it idles between 600 and 700, and it almost feels like the engine wants to be up at 800. Just a weird little, like when you're at idle, if you come to a stop and your foot's on the brake, it's not doing it right now because it's idling higher. I can look at it and it looks like it's at like, but idle is slowly dipping. It feels like it drops a little bit between 600 and 700 and then just gets a little, and that could be when it's cold too, because the truck's fully warmed up now and all that stuff, but it's a weird thing to notice in a new car in the modern day. Another thing is the transmission seems a bit clunkier than I remember from my first drive. However, it is infinitely better than any CVT or anything else you would throw at this truck, or an older 6-speed or something like that. There's times when, because it's a 9-speed, you want to give it some juice and then it has to shift down, takes a second. But I'm hoping this is a nice stout gearbox that can handle anything you throw at it. And again, better than a CVT or an older 6-speed or something like that. It's hard to argue with a mid-size pickup truck with good room inside, nice tech, comfortable seats, great shocks at all 4 corners, and an engine making 310 horsepower delivered to you for right around $40,000. That is exceptional in today's market. Now, as far as the competition goes, I would pick this over any Colorado outside of the ZR2. That there's an argument to be made. The ZR2 suspension is just amazing and excellent, and really neat, but I like the engine better in this one, and I like the interior better in this one. Now, with respect to the Ranger, I would pick this over pretty much every Ranger outside of a Tremor, because then you get the Fox shocks and the wheels and tires with the upgraded ECU, so the engine is making 315 horsepower. You can't really beat that one. That is an amazing package, but you've now, I think, turned that into a $50,000 Ranger versus, you know, a $40,000 Ranger. And then with respect to the Tacoma, no, this, as far as I'm concerned, this wipes the floor with the Tacoma. I know there are Tacoma lovers out there, and for good reason. The resale value is amazing, the reliability is amazing, and for what it is a capable machine. There is no denying that. That said, let me get around these hikers again. That said, the Tacoma has the worst, I know I say this every time we talk about trucks, the Tacoma is the worst seating position of any modern vehicle I've ever sat in. It's that bad. It's not that bad. If you're saying that, that means you are a 5'1" person. No offense, my wife is 5'1", not that she drives a Tacoma. You are, I don't know, I don't wanna height shame people, but for anything average height and above, it is a joke, it is uncomfortable. I'm sure even for shorter people, just the sitting position with your legs straight out is so stupid. Okay, I have to finish the video from here because while I was in the middle of my angry Tacoma rant, my GoPro died. And so that's where my GoPro said, hey, enough of this. And I'm literally finishing this up right now. So I'm gonna really finish it up from here. It's kind of a bit of a videoception. To sum up on the 2022 Nissan Frontier. Nissan did a hell of a job making the truck instantly competitive in the segment. The exterior looks great, especially in the green paint. The interior is excellent. The seats are comfortable. The touchscreen works great. All of that stuff is really good. Putting a 9-speed gearbox behind a 310 horsepower V6 is a wonderful move and puts it towards the head of the class with respect to that aspect of the vehicle. Were I shopping in the segment, my top two choices would be the Ford Ranger and the Nissan Frontier. And the only reason that the Ranger might edge it is because I would get that ECU flash and push it to 315 horsepower. That said, if you ignore that, I think I would go with the Frontier. The seats are a little bit better. I really like the way the Pro-4X rides and drives, and it is a wonderful machine. Nissan did an excellent job transforming the Frontier for the modern day, and if you are shopping in this segment, it should absolutely be on your list. Okay, now back to the end of the video. Let's not hit all the rocks.